All right, I think I'm going. This is Entravision Q1 2022 earnings call summary. I want to say just really quick, thank you very much for the likes, the comments, the subs. I sincerely appreciate it. Very proud of this channel and what I've been able to do with it. I do think it is something that is necessary and needed in the market. There was a subscriber that asked for an analysis of this company, and I really enjoyed the analysis quite a bit, and so I decided to go back and look at the quarterly report that came out on May the 8th or May 5th rather, sorry, um, and just kind of wanted to go over what the company does and kind of what the earnings was. So anyway, so quarter one 2022, they missed on both profit and revenue. I don't think it's necessary to speak on the price right now because we know that the market's been really up and down over the last month or so. Um, I do have to say, just really quick, what this company does is they own TV stations, they own radio stations, and primarily they are advertisers. They're an advertising company, and I didn't really understand that about um, these TV stations until I got into this company, which is why I really appreciated the young man asking for an analysis of this because I learned so much going through this stuff. So what they do is because they have a TV station, they then sell to companies to advertise on their TV station. And so they've decided to expand that into the digital realm, such as Roku and online games and all of the, social media, all of the online platforms you can think of, TikTok, so forth. And what they do is they partner with a company like TikTok and they say, hey, TikTok, pay us to go out and advertise to your users um, to advertise on your platform. I'll say that again because it took me a second to get this. They partner with TikTok, and TikTok says, okay, we have this platform, people are using it, but we want people to spend money for advertising. And so Introvision says, no problem, we got it. So they go out to businesses and they say, hey, please advertise on TikTok. Here's how to do it. Here's how to make sure that you're getting the most bang for your buck, so on and so forth. They're currently in about 30 different countries, primarily Latin America, US, of course, Asia, and now they're getting into Africa. In the US, they are primarily a Latin um, TV station, Univision, right? So all of the Latin TV stations, radio stations, I did queue up. Here we go. So this is their television portfolio. Okay, so as you see here, number one, Orlando, Daytona Beach. Um, they're ranked number 10 as far as TV stations go. Okay, 21% of Hispanic households. In South Texas, it's 94% of Hispanic households, and they're ranked number 11. That was a bit disconcerting for me because they do have a competitor, which I believe is Telemundo. And so, if you have a company that is marketing directly to Latins in Latin America, you want them to, of course, be the best. You want to see them continue to grow. And so, the fact that they're number 11 in a place that is 94% Hispanic is a bit disconcerting. But it's a small company too, which is why Texas Investments cannot invest in this company. We only invest in companies with a market cap of above, I believe it's 10 billion or 50 billion. I forget the exact number, but either way, this company is too small for us to invest in. But again, interesting to go through this stuff. So let's take a look at some of these other numbers. We see El Paso, Texas down here, 77% Hispanic households, and they rank number 20. Um, where they are very impressive is in the radio. Let's get down There we go. So number one in Los Angeles, San Diego, and you can see the stations there. I'm not from the area, so I'm not familiar with these stations, but they are number one ranked in the LA area in radio, number three in Miami, number eight in Phoenix. And so, they're definitely ranked higher in radio than they are in TV. But we do have to report that both TV and radio were down this year about 4%. However, they did because they're growing in the digital space, the Roku's, the online gaming, the Facebooks, TikToks, and all this kind of stuff. They actually did make more money in those areas, but again, they did not meet expectations. Again, they missed on both revenue and profit. The company said that this was due to uh, different ad spend, and this is why this particular call was so interesting. So, what they explained was that the auto industry is not buying as much advertising space, and we all know that it has a lot to do with supply. There is some issues possibly with demand, but we know for sure that there is a supply issue in the auto industry. Also, political ad spend was also down. Um, it's it's a timing issue, obviously, because at some point we will get into elections and campaigns and stuff like that, and so I think we will see that number pick up. But relatively, comparatively speaking, that number is down. And so that means that politicians and political parties are spending less on advertising. Why that is the case, I don't know. Maybe it's because Americans are concerned with other things right now outside of the US, and they're not so focused on local politics. And so those local politicians maybe are not spending as much. The one sector that they did see a huge increase in, though, was travel and leisure activities. It was something like 140% increase in the ad spend there. So, again, this goes back to the consumer, right? And of course, this is lagging data. Okay, this is stuff that happened 3, 4 months ago, not what's going on right now today. But it is important to note that over the last 3 or 4 months, um, persons are definitely spending money on travel and leisure because they have it to spend, right? We may not be buying as many cars, as many TVs, and things of that nature, but we're still spending money. So I think that says a lot about where the consumer is currently. Couple things I wanted to touch on too um, is that they are buying up a lot of smaller companies. And so I'm not going to go into all of them, but I do want to talk about one in particular, which is called Smidex. Did I get that right? Smidex? Okay, this is Entravision 365, which they're just now getting into Africa. Okay, so anyway, Smidex, Smadex, Smadex. Smidex is a software which actually is why I pulled this up. It's called a programmatic, programmatic DSP, demand side platform. Programmatic. I want to make sure I get that right because I thought it was really interesting. Prog- Programmatic. I can't find it right away. But yeah, programmatic DSP. And so what that is it's a software that once someone goes to a website, the software figures out how to advertise to this particular person going to this particular website or going to this particular app or going to this particular online channel, right? And what it does is it figures out again how to advertise to them before the page loads. Once the website loads, then the advertisement is there. There's not a whole lot you can do about it. The other thing is it uses AI, uses computer program to determine how much to spend on that particular customer. So you're talking about getting very targeted and very specific ads done with this. programmatic demand side platform. What you're seeing here are is just a list of some of the largest, best uh, DSPs out there. Okay, Facebook Ads Manager is a weird one because Facebook Ads Manager, while it is a DSP, it only um, uh, advertises on Facebook and Instagram, whereas these other companies will advertise you pretty much everywhere. The one that I thought was really interesting is Media Math, I think it's called. Yeah, Media Math. And so what Media Math says here is that not only will they figure out how to market to that particular individual going to that app or using that website or clicking on that media, right? It's also going to check to make sure that your ad is not showing up next to something that they deem or you deem offensive. And if in fact your ad does pop up next to an offensive ad or some offensive content, they give the advertiser a refund. Now, the question becomes, how will the advertiser know out of the thousands of times that their ad shows up on any, given platform that their ad was ran next to some offensive content? I don't know, but I think that's really interesting that they have that as part of their company policy. Um, what else? They did talk about um, stock buybacks, and I did initially think about looking at the actual numbers and what that could possibly mean for the stock price. But I quickly realized that that's going to be a bigger endeavor than what I wanted to take on. They have 20 million already that's been allocated towards buybacks. They've spent 11 so far, so they have about 9 million more dollars that they can spend. They do think that the stock is cheap, and so they are looking to purchase more shares. They do also have a dividend. Dividend, I think right now is 2%, so that's pretty good. Other than that, I mean, it seems to be a very solid business. I am concerned though that, again, they missed on profit, they missed on revenue. Their biggest revenue drivers are TV and radio. Both are down currently. The other thing that I want to mention is, and I've said this before with telecommunications companies, I just don't see TV and radio as a growing business. I think it's a dying business. Someone just asked a question on social media earlier today, and I chimed in on it, which was, who still listens to radio? Personally, I listen to radio when I'm outside the country because I like to figure out what the local uh, flavor is as far as music goes. But in the U.S., I never listen to radio. There's just, I mean, when I get in the car, I put on a podcast or I put on Spotify or YouTube or something like that. I almost never listen to radio. I did listen to the radio years ago during my daily commute, but again, that's been many years. TV, same thing. I haven't watched TV in I don't know how long, and we're not talking about cable. We're not talking about satellite. We're not talking about Netflix. We're talking about Entravision is like antenna TV. So, while I'm sure there are quite a few people still listening to antenna TV, the question becomes how many businesses are willing to spend money to advertise on antenna TV? Um, Honestly, I think it's an interesting thing. I imagine that the advertising costs are way down. Whereas, 10, 20 years ago, it would have cost a lot to advertise on TV. And now I'm thinking maybe I'll give them a call just to see what the numbers are because I can't imagine it's very expensive. I mean, because who's watching antenna TV? So um, I will do an analysis. We will go through the numbers and really look at this thing. But just right now, based on the earnings call, uh, it doesn't seem it doesn't seem like a growing business. They do have some potential in the online space, in the digital marketing and advertising, but as of right now, it's such a small part of what they do that you cannot depend on that side of the business to offer any sort of real profit growth, right? They most of their business is still going to be TV and radio, and as of right now, that TV and radio not only is faltering because TV and radio are leaving, but it's also faltering because the consumer is faltering. And so, based on that, I'll say that even though it does seem like an exciting, interesting company currently, there is a huge bear case for this based on this earnings call.